Hey guys, so this is a Patreon exclusive commentary track for Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is one of my favorite films. Joining me is Michael, my top Patreon. Say hello, Mike.
Hey guys, great to be here.
Okay, so we're going to get this started. We're watching Raiders of the Lost Ark on Hulu. If you want to watch along with us, go ahead and get your Raiders of the Lost Ark started on Hulu or wherever. Cycle over to 0000 and hit play now.
Any second now you should see the Paramount Picture caption. And fading out into Paramount Pictures Presents. There we go.
I'm not sure what that font is, but you don't see it in other movies.
Yeah, the only place I can find something
So
similar
now,
to
did
that.
you see this in theaters?
From what I recall, no. This was 1981. I was 4 going on 5 at the time. It was just kind of my introduction to Indiana Jones a couple years later, just because my folks were hooked on it. Rented it on VHS on more than a handful of occasions. Just like Star Wars, little by little, I just got immersed into it and was just hooked like a drug ever since. I did see
I'm not
Temple
sure
of
when
Doom
I
in
first
theaters,
saw
though.
this. I mean, I know I've seen this on cable many times. I have the DVD, I think, from 2004. I don't know when I last watched this. It's surely been a few years, but it stays pretty fresh in my mind. All right, I think I screwed up, and I may have delayed it here. I see the George Lucas producer thing right there.
Yeah, George
I
Lucas.
might be a few seconds behind you. Yeah.
And
Very vivid colors, and every time I've seen this movie, like this was one of the first few movies that I feel really looks modern. Like it does not age as far as the quality of the photography goes.
definitely, and I think what they've got this here is like the Blu-ray capture. Just I don't know what they did.
Yeah, this is my first time actually watching in HD.
Yeah, I don't know what they did, but picture and sound quality looks amazing. It's Alfred Molina, who would later become Doc Ock.
I like how they drop you in on this adventure, but they don't really have the setup for it. Like he's just in the adventure looking for this. You never saw anybody hire him to go look for this idol, and after he captures the idol, it's not brought up for the rest of the movie. So this is a cold opening in this adventure here.
Right, and
South America, did it say 1936?
yep, 1936.
I think it said that, yeah.
And we see Indy either with his back turned or in silhouette. And like here, right here, when this guy pulls the gun on him, just to establish right up front.
Yeah, I had a film professor who said that the hero needs a cool intro. And we've been walking with this guy the whole time, but he's mysterious, whereas we see these other guys' faces, and he's in the shadow. Now, I'm not so sure if the gun would actually fire like that. It didn't look like it was firing.
Either way, that scared him off. And we see Harrison Ford, his first appearance as Indiana Jones. It's kind of funny, too. It's like a year before this, Han Solo's frozen in carbonite, and here's Harrison Ford, like, playing his new, like, go-to famous character.
I think that the music for this is iconic, but if I were to complain about something, it would be that the music is overbearing at times. When I last watched this, I really tried to focus in on that, and I just thought there's so many times where the music is really trying too hard to tell you this is adventure, this is exciting, and it was plenty exciting without the music, really. So like I do enjoy the score and the Indiana Jones theme, but I think that there are just some times where the music's really taking priority with the sound. I think when we get over here to these spiders, you're going to get the, oh, this is scary spider stuff. And like you hear the same thing when they're in the tomb later, and Marion goes through some wall and there's like some skeletons.
Yeah, it's either the...
Nowadays, these would be CGI spiders.
And those spiders did nothing at first when they were filming this. I think they had a bunch of male spiders on Alfred Molina at first, and somebody commented, they aren't
Oh,
moving, why
wow,
aren't they
something's
moving?
up with the picture. I'd never seen this in HD, but when Alfred Molina turned around, he like looked blurry and double vision.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Just
Maybe. I mean, there is a possibility that they never got these shots in as good a focus as they thought, and I find that out to be the case many times when I watch something that's in HD and it's, say, from the 70s, and they thought shots were in focus, but they didn't really have the technology to observe that at the time.
he tries to swing across. Oh, almost didn't make it.
Oh, I must be several seconds behind you. This is such a disaster. Oh well, it's not. Whenever I do one of these commentaries, I don't think anybody's actually watching the movie. They're kind of listening for the points that they've heard before. I mean, of course, everybody's seen the movie if they're going to watch a commentary, listen to a commentary while watching it again. Anyhow,
Want me to pause for a second or so?
no, I don't. Wow, that idol is really gold. I don't think I've seen it this bright before. Like, look how bright this supposed almost non-lit temple is. Like, it's lit better than my house.
Definitely. Even far away like this.
Yeah, let's clear a spot in the ceiling so that light can shine down on this idol, and it'll never rain over here, and there'll never be any dust. They have to have some guys like just show up and kind of polish the idol on occasion. Maybe this isn't actually a hidden temple. Maybe it's actually quite frequented, and the natives are just at some ceremony right now.
And you mentioned the music here. It either goes quiet or it builds up tension or it kind of gets a little playful at times.
Yeah, I think it's fine right here, but there are points maybe later in the movie where I think it's trying too hard. All right, you're just kind of guessing here, Indiana Jones. Throw out some sand, make the switch, but what difference?
Mm-hmm.
How could he actually know how much the idol weighs, or that was pressure sensitive so much, to the point that it was weight?
He just had to take his best guess, pack
How
enough sand in there
advanced
so it'd be heavy
technology?
enough.
If this is an ancient temple, how advanced could their booby traps really be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this is some pretty impressive engineering. All right, here's where throw me the idol, I throw you the whip.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say that line in reality and people are confused. It's hard to tell how far that jump was. Like in the reverse shot, it looks like he jumped a long ways, but then when you see the shot below, it doesn't look like it's so much. Looks pretty doable.
It's a movie. Suspend disbelief. He had just enough of a running jump to make across, and there we see that iconic. Just as before the door closes, yanks his hand through and grabs the whip.
Adios Sapido.
Yeah, even though his
I'm thinking that they probably just glued some spikes to the front of him and had him stand there like that.
right.
I think that's how they do the effect. Did you ever see or heard of the 1982 to almost present day fan film recreating Raiders of the Lost Ark? There was a documentary about it on Netflix.
No, don't believe I've seen that one.
These kids started making the movie, like a reenactment of it, in 1982, after it came out on VHS. And they didn't finish until a couple of years ago when they finally got some Kickstarter money to fund the scene with the plane. I mean, I kind of have some mixed feelings about that. It's not very creative to just remake somebody else's movie. Of course, you're not going to do a better job, so why not just put all that effort into something you could actually get some recognition for and some possible money out of, make your own movie. But there are some points there where it's like, wow, how did they do this? They had one of their homes got turned into a temple for this stuff. They have the rock, and all of it looks fairly authentic. It just kind of looks like some high school kids playing Indiana Jones. I like that whistle move he does right there. He's like,
yeah.
It's like, was that? What I'm wondering is, do these guys speak in whistle? And he issued a command in whistle, maybe?
I always believed it was like it's.
Or is there some kind of universal? Maybe the hand gesture, the universal slit the throat thing is go get him.
Mm-hmm.
This guy Jacques, I'm still confused on how this guy never showed up again, because it seems like he must be his buddy. But if they were close, then how does he not know that's his pet snake? So, if you start questioning this stuff, maybe it doesn't hold up to scrutiny as well. I wonder if this was a new movie, if I would be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why does he have a pet snake, Reggie? If Indiana Jones was on this plane to get there, how did he not see the snake before?
Maybe Reggie was in the.
So if this was if this was a new Disney one, I would probably be like, oh, thumbs down, pet snake problem.
He's swimming across to get on the plane, and these Indians have worse aim than stormtroopers. I mean, I know a moving target is harder to hit.
This is about as exciting as a movie starts, though. Before this, did a movie start as exciting? I can't really think of any instance.
Me neither. Here we go.
Looks like Harrison Ford's actually in a plane here. Of course, they wouldn't do that these days. This would be a green screen, and it wouldn't look right. The sunset happened very quickly. That's what it's like in South America. Now, this right here, I don't think the feminists are going to like this scene where it appears as though he has many young students fawning over him.
Yeah,
there's several girls and maybe even a guy, because that guy comes over and puts, and kind of it's bizarre because this guy has an apple he puts on his desk, but he seems angry about it.
That's what I always wondered too. It's
I know you're hooking up with these girls and not me, right?
I mean, an apple for the teacher, I get the gesture, but he just runs off like he was bitter
Isn't
about
that
something.
An elementary school thing? This is college. It's so bizarre if you putting thought into this. These aren't accidents. These are scenes Steven Spielberg must have been like, okay, now you do this, but look a little angry when you walk by. Now, she's got the messages on her eyes, which is weird, but yeah, it's like, how many students is he hooking up with? We're trying to establish quickly here that he's to be desired by the ladies watching in the audience.
Right. Way I understand, there was actually a deleted scene where he's dating one of the students.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right, here's the apple, kid.
Uh-huh.
That is weird.
Doesn't even maintain eye contact with him. Nothing. Just runs off. And here's Denholm Elliott
Now,
as Marcus
Denholm
Brody.
Elliott, he's like, I'm taking that apple. It looked like it was given to you. It's on your desk, but I'm here and it's my apple now. So what's this stuff on his desk? Were these things he stole that just weren't important enough to get into a museum?
That's what I always thought. He's got a globe on his desk too, which, way I hear, I think that it's from where the camera can see, we see Africa on the globe. There's actually several spots on the map that weren't around at the time. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be 1936. I think when we get to the map
I
a few
hadn't thought
minutes
about
later,
it like that, but there
are some
there
geographical
was
errors.
quite the growth. I mean, in recent years, there hasn't been a lot of new countries, but there definitely were times last century where countries were changing boundaries and such, especially Soviet Union.
I'd be very interested in knowing where this was filmed exactly. Is this an actual college? Was it a soundstage?
I believe it is. Yeah, I saw a documentary about some guys psyched for the new Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and they were at the campus. Well, maybe they were showing up for the filming of it or something, and maybe it wasn't the same location, but I think it was. Okay, so they intercepted German communique. They say Hitler is obsessed with the occult. We have to stop him from getting this item. Oddly enough, I'm not so sure if these guys are really buying into it actually having powers, but they are going to put some resources to stopping Hitler from getting it.
Right. It's like they know it's important, but not quite the magnitude of it, because Indy catches on right away.
Or maybe they intercepted this, and then Indiana Jones is like, here's a chance to get the government to give us some adventure funding. I'm going to tell them we have to get this stuff. It's like super scary. Here's a book about it.
By the way, there's a familiar face on...
Maybe Indiana Jones a con man.
Familiar face on the left there. That's
What are you saying, familiar?
William Hootkins, who also plays Jack Porkins in A New Hope. First guy to get blown up in the X-Wing.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I got him mixed up with another guy who I thought might have been in Star Wars also. The guy who played Commissioner Gordon in the first three Batman...
Yeah,
maybe even 4 Batman films, actually.
That, if memory serves, that was Pat Hingle. William Hootkins
I was watching Suspiria.
Was actually Eckhart.
In Suspiria, there was the lead character... No, there was a character that died named Pat Hingle. And I'm like, wait a sec, that's the name of the actor from Batman, right?
And see, you're right here. It's like these guys are silent now. It's like Indy and Marcus know what this is all about.
It's like they just tricked them, though. Indy and Marcus have tricked these guys into funding an expedition to go pick up some more stuff. They sold them on the idea. This scene's going on a lot longer than I remember it, honestly. I thought this was a quick little, what's this? It's that, and we're done. All right, so he's explaining how there's a stick, but there's a emblem he needs to put on it, and I think that is with Marion. So he has to go see her first.
He's expecting to see Abner, but as we find out A little while
Oh,
later.
was that the
Too late.
case?
Yeah, because they were telling him about her father, Abner Ravenwood. They're worried that he's connected with the Nazis.
However, they're on bad terms because he fooled around with his daughter, who was said to be below legal age, but he's like, you knew what you were doing. And that is not the kind of thing that the hero would say today. Like, he'd be, no matter how heroic he was through the rest of the movie, the feminists would be like, no, he's still evil. If Disney, when they bought Lucasfilm, everybody was talking about, well, what were they going to do with Star Wars? But people didn't seem to realize that means they also have Indiana Jones.
Yep, that too.
And so you got to wonder what they're going to do with that, because at some point they're going to want to get their Indiana Jones money.
I hear they're doing a 5th movie in 2020.
I feel like I've been hearing that for a while. You can't keep putting that off at Harrison's age.
Now Marcus says the Bible speaks of the Ark leveling mountains and laying waste of entire regions. Well, I looked into it. There's actually nowhere anywhere in the Bible where it says that.
You're doing a lot more research than I should really care to do.
And apparently Marcus went to bat for him, that they want him to go on the assignment. Well, that little speech he gave them right there in the lecture room or wherever that was, that should have been enough to convince them. It's like, geesh, this guy knows more about this than we do.
Yeah, you would think that they'd already gotten the go code to do this by the time Indiana Jones left the room. But instead we have this scene where he has to show up at his house. I wonder if this would have been done so much quicker today. Like, people would be like, oh, audiences are bored. They just talked for 5 minutes.
Be filler at the time, but this was 1981. Maybe they didn't think of it as much, but it's just establishing events to come, setting up characters.
That shot right there, that looked like they did some matte work to get that plane in the water, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wouldn't have noticed that if this was on TV in the 90s. In fact, I hadn't really picked up on that until seeing it in HD. This guy here, now is that the German guy that's chasing him during the movie?
That's what I was wondering for years and years. It's actually just some unnamed Nazi spy on...
It looks like it might be somebody else, but also with glasses.
Yeah. And just a little trivia, the guy playing him is...
This is so cool here.
Here we go, the maps.
The shot with the map. Yeah.
I remember...
All right, you're saying some trivia about...
Steven Spielberg and George Lucas intended this to be reminiscent of the Saturday matinee serials. I think they did something similar to that back in the 30s and 40s. Like, a plane would be flying over.
With the map?
Look, it says Thailand.
Oh, yeah, the plane with the kind of fade, yeah.
It says Thailand on the map.
That looks like a miniature right there. This Nepal area.
Thailand was actually Siam back in 1936. Oops.
Oh, it's an astute observation. We're establishing here that Marion is tough because alcohol consumption equals strong woman, I guess.
Yeah, let's see. They've already gone through... Gosh.
She can hang with the boys.
God, how many glasses have they gone through there? You couldn't see the camera cuts them so fast.
It's a lot. That's all I can tell. Though I wonder how many people were originally drinking in this game. And maybe these are the last two standing.
Mm-hmm. We think she's tired. Nope, nope. She's ready for more. Look how slowly he reaches for the glass. It's like, he's almost out of it.
I like the way this guy falls over.
We have a winner.
Now it completely had no effect on her whatsoever. She was like drinking water.
Here we go. Indiana in shadow again. Did you see the making of, like, the documentary on this? When they released the movies on DVD for the first time, they had a fourth disc, which was the making of. They actually had Tom Selleck in
I
mind to
think I
play
watched
Indiana
it.
Jones at first.
Yeah, along with the chick from Blade Runner. Forgot her name. They were both ready to go. Tom Selleck, though, had prior obligations with Magnum PI. And Magnum PI was a hit show, so CBS wasn't going to let him go. I think Tom Selleck would have done just as good of a job. He's a bit taller and more muscular than Harrison Ford. But I don't really see anything that Indiana Jones does that when I think of Harrison Ford, like only he can do it. Like, I think Tom Selleck would have done just as fine of a job if we'd put him in the same situation. Though now that we've established that Indiana Jones is definitely Harrison Ford, it seems like you can't really just slide anybody else in there. They had the what was it, Indiana Jones Chronicles, where he was like young. Did you ever see that?
Bits and pieces of it.
It's like ABC show.
Yeah, I remember
I think
it.
I've seen some of it back in the day. Yeah, it wasn't like a big hit or nothing, if I recall. You know, people get Indiana Jones and it's not Harrison Ford, they're disappointed.
And George Lucas didn't want Harrison Ford at first. He was like, this was the third or fourth movie that he was here in a movie, either directed by him or executive produced by him. Keep in mind, he was also in American Graffiti before Star Wars.
Yeah, so this would have been the fourth film together. He was probably sick of them.
And we'll see Toht in a few minutes. I was going to say, the Nazi spy on the plane, the guy playing him was actually Dennis Muren, who was one of the special effects guys for Lucasfilm.
Yeah, he has quite the resume. He was the guy sweeping up all the Oscars for the CGI work early on in Terminator 2, Jurassic Park.
And there we see, she had it all the time. All that time she had the medallion.
Probably thinking, is this thing really that important? So I'm thinking that he hired some local thugs real quick, like, hey, you guys short on money, right? You want like $5? Just come fight some people temporarily. Or just stand here. If a fight breaks out, do something.
Right. And here we go. They didn't even bother to knock.
Does this guy show up in any other movies? Because I thought he was really frightening here, but I don't recall seeing him in anything
Actually,
else.
yes, we see him very briefly in The Last Crusade at the scene where they're at the Hitler rally. He plays Heinrich Himmler. Hard to see, but he's there.
Oh, well, I'll have to get to watching that.
Yep, Ronald Lacey.
It's probably the Indiana Jones movie I've seen furthest to recent. I think I see this one in Temple of Doom more often.
Or as I assume you've watched Nostalgia Critic from time to time.
Nah, it's been over 10 years since I've seen any of his stuff.
I think he also played a...
I think he's Reina Nostalgia.
Okay, now here's the thing. He wants to know where the medallion is, and his henchmen are just standing around. Well, she left it right there on the table. They could have found it if they really looked.
You think they could have just turned over some tables and started looking for things?
Yeah, if they were that desperate to find it. Instead, he's going to threaten her with this hot poker. Again, reminiscent of Saturday matinee serials. It's like, uh-oh, the heroine damsel in distress is in danger. You'd have to go back next week to find out what happens. See the continuation.
Now, there is a guy, one of his henchmen here is kind of odd looking with the eyes. It looks like they might have put some makeup on him, maybe try to yellow face him up.
Yeah, they did something to make him look Nepalese or whatever nationality he's supposed to be.
I think he ends up catching fire, the one I'm thinking of. Rated PG, a lot of gunplay, pretty brutal deaths, almost throughout the movie, really. I mean, we had people impaled, but off camera.
Well, 3 years later...
We got a guy on fire who then
yeah.
gets shot in the head. Like, that's something out of RoboCop right there. That's like hard R material.
And 3 years later, we'd have Temple of Doom. That was the one, if I'm not mistaken, that started the whole PG-13 rating system.
I think that along with Gremlins, and they acted quick. Because within the same year, the first PG-13 movie comes about, and that's like Red Dawn. And Red Dawn at the time was the most violent movie yet made. Rated PG-13.
And here's Pat Roach playing this big henchman who's wrestling with Indy. He later plays the mechanic who he fights with by the airplane.
The one at the plane.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
And we'll see him play.
I thought I might have saw him in a movie the other day. I'm looking it up now. Burn.
That's gotta hurt.
I don't know if it'd really be that hot, really. It wasn't in a fire. I've burned myself like that before. Yeah, it'll stick with you a few days.
Definitely.
I like how they quickly got that out of the way. Oh, okay, I guess we're doing this together here.
We're partners. Here we go with the maps again.
Now, some of these countries may have changed hands. Afghanistan? Was there an Afghanistan at this point?
To be honest, I don't know.
Didn't most of those stands arise after World War II?
I think so. I saw Jordan on the map. I believe at the time it was actually Transjordan.
Now, I think they had to remove satellite dishes and antennas from these buildings here to try to clean up the background and make it look fitting of the time
Right.
period.
And we see John Rhys-Davies as Sallah.
Now, I wonder something about the monkey. If the monkey's at his place, is it Sallah's monkey?
Yeah, we don't know.
Like, I don't just have dogs at my house. If I do, they're my dog, right? But then the monkey's hanging out with a guy later like it's a double agent. Like it's been spying on him.
Yeah, we don't know. It's never explained.
This guy, he will either act in a huge movie or something straight to video. Like, I guess he doesn't say no. Like Forrest Whitaker.
They call him Belloq. But Indy knows who he's talking about.
Let me show you what I've got, just in case you might have, sell me out like Lando. Which I guess it's kind of surprising that this guy isn't a bad guy. Like maybe they haven't gotten to him first. Indiana Jones really doesn't get stabbed in the back much.
Yeah, at least not in the first three movies. Well,
Like
kind
it's
of in
probably
Last
just
Crusade.
Elsa. Is it really maybe just is Ilsa or Elsa?
Yeah, Elsa.
I think she's the only one that turns on him. But he hadn't met her until the movie. Like he doesn't have established friends who then sell him out. All right, now they lost the monkey.
Oh, bye-bye.
Have a date. You eat 'em. I don't know why his voice cracked there, but I just find that funny. Now, see, this is the monkey agent.
Yeah, the guy with the eye patch. And the actor playing him, that was the same guy who pulled the gun on him earlier at the beginning. Same actor.
Oh.
So apparently, yeah, the Nazis hired him to spy on them.
Well, goodness, if you could recognize him, that could really make the movie confusing. There definitely are times where I feel like if you're an indie filmmaker, you need the characters to have a black friend so that if for no other reason, you can tell people apart. Like, that's one good reason to have some diversity in films. I've seen some films out of some small European countries where it'll be like all the boys in the school all look exactly alike and have the same haircut, and they shoot the movie from a medium or far away angle, and you can't tell who is who. Now, this is an adventurous, playful fight, that really the first of the movie. Now, the music has changed drastically here. This is fun adventure, but it's also kind of humorous music.
Right.
Where we just all, like a few minutes earlier, had a serious gunfight with fire. It's odd that there would be this different tone within the same movie. Though I think it's a fun enough scene that it's perfectly suitable. Where there's also some odd magic in it. Because, like, Marion doesn't she go into a pot, they lift it up and it's not her, and it's like, well, how did that happen? Oh, but it's fun. You know, I'm sure if this was a new movie, I'd be like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, deduction. So she pulls the pan out. He has a knife. And then we get a similar thing with the sword and gun with the mismatched weaponry. She goes into one of these pots here, or I guess it's not a pot, it's a basket.
I think that was actually Frank Welker doing the voice of the monkey. He was also the voice of Stripe and Gremlins.
You think they had a voice for the monkey? They didn't just record voice? I mean, record a monkey?
That's what I thought it was for years and years. They just actually, I don't know, had an animal trainer for the monkey, but I looked into it. They had a guy kind of doing that little high-pitched shriek, especially when he does the Heil Hitler.
Well, there's a lot of times when you see an eagle in a movie and it makes this like fearsome shriek type thing, and that's not the sound of actual eagles. That'd be a red-tailed hawk. Eagles sound terrible.
Yeah. Oh, here we go with the swordsman.
Good scene right here, iconic.
And it was going to be longer.
Now they grabbed a basket and there's somebody in the basket. Surely they have enough sense to grab the basket she was in, right?
And that fight scene was going to be longer at first.
She's yelling, "Hey, I'm trapped in here." It's not somebody setting him up. Like, that would have taken next level thinking right there. Now they disappeared, basically. They just pulled like some kind of Inception trick. Like, is he in a dream now? Things are not like reality.
Good observation. It's like they go from one angle, then they disappear, and then, no, here they are over here. But they're...
Though, we see all these other guys with baskets. Maybe that was just some other guys with another basket. Maybe there's everybody's into these new baskets. You got to get them while you can. Now, surely he's found the correct basket at this point. Right? I mean, they're going to the German's car. They're shooting at him. This is the correct basket. Boom, shot in the heart. In the head. And if she is in that basket, she's not walking away from this.
Kaboom.
All right, sad Indiana Jones, sad monkey. That was a nice explosion, by the way. You don't see explosions in modern films. They're just too lazy. They say, look, we can just do it with computer. It's cheaper than actually putting people in a location and having something available to blow up and getting permits. Let's just do it in computer.
Definitely.
It'll look like crap, but you know, that's the way we do things now.
To me, that's one of the reasons why these movies, you know, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies and the first 3 Star Wars movies, 4, 5, and 6, still hold up today, because it was back at the time where they had limited technology. It was all done practically. It just looks more real. Nowadays, it's just all, oh, look at the green screen. Same thing if you watch the documentaries. They're just not as interesting, because back during this time, they did it all practically.
Well, also, there was movie magic back then where you wondered how they did some stuff, and now you know the answer is computer every time. So we've reintroduced our villain here. Belloq, is it?
Yeah.
I keep thinking Balrog.
Yeah, Belloq.
He's got this hookah thing going here. I know I must have seen him in something else not too long ago.
Yeah, same here. He was on...
Can't recall what.
I think some television movies. I can't remember what else I've seen him in, if anything. But Steven Spielberg liked him right up front. He just...
Look how attentive everybody in this cafe is.
And I remember for years and years...
How many people can he pay off?
Like right here, you see their back turned, someone hands another guy a gun.
Yep, I don't think you can see that in the cropped TV pan and scan version.
For years and years, I remember watching this on VHS until widescreen was introduced. Just little things like that. You only see it if it's in widescreen. And Paul Freeman,
I like how he talks of the spoon. Like, then he say, oh, well, not a spoon or whatever, this watch. I guess I've heard something about a spoon before. You bury it long enough, and all of a sudden it's priceless. I think it's good that the villain has some kind of intimidating anecdote or see how he's like he's patient. He's not like screaming at him about how tough he is. That radio speaking to God thing, I think that's in the trailer.
it's like he's methodical. He knows just what's going to set Indy off.
I remember there was, I think it was the trailer for Night at the Museum, and there was this actress, I think it's Mindy Kaling. She's in the trailer, and she's like, "Welcome to the the museum" or something like that. And she's like, she had said something on a talk show where she's like, "Yeah, I want to be in like the new Indiana Jones. I'll just be like the person who says, 'Welcome to this location.' That way, I have to be in the trailer." Rescued by the kids. I don't know what's come of those kids, but probably half of them died in some horrific way at this point.
And he tells her Marion's dead, but
All right.
just Sallah doesn't seem too
He's
worried.
getting signal here from the eye patch guy and the monkey are definitely in cahoots, working some kind of angle here. So many questions about the monkey. And then what was the signal even about? Because if the plan was, hey, I'm gonna poison the dates, don't eat a monkey. Okay, got it.
But he eats one anyway. Go figure.
So what was the whole point of the monkey? I mean, all it does is die so that Indiana Jones doesn't eat the poison, so that he knows not to eat it.
And the servant was gone just long enough for him to go in there and poison the dates.
Did I just see a guy walk over here and sprinkle something on this? Nah, never mind. I'll serve him anyways.
No, my eyes must be deceiving me. No, I think you better watch those dates again, guy. That or get some other ones. I think that's Kieran Shaw playing the servant. He was also in Ewok in Return of the Jedi. So there you go, crossovers. They get the same actors. Uh-oh, Indy grabs one.
The Bosterman Dietrich. So there's like quite a few villains that show up that don't really need to be in the movie. Really, like I could see this streamlined to the point that the three top villains are actually like one character.
Six Kadam high, 72 inches. And take back one Kadam.
And as soon as we say this, the wind is going to pick up, so that we know we're on the right trail here. God has spoken. Now, I don't know how you could secretly dig, I mean, like, surely if you're digging somewhere and you look around, you're like, hey, those guys are digging somewhere else. I guess we could go, I don't know, kill them and dig there too or something, right? Bad dates. So the mucky agent, not the most dependable. I guess that was just one of many missteps for the Nazis.
Yeah, and we don't see that guy again anyway. It's like all these guys
I
digging,
think
they've
there were
got...
a lot of movies where it played that, you know, where it's like, I've hired you to kill this guy. If you fail, we go to the next guy kind of move. Like, it's almost like some kind of like Inspector Gadget cartoon.
We got all these guys digging all over the place. You got Nazi soldiers kind of supervising them. So it's like, did they have enough funds to basically get all these villagers to go dig for them?
I guess. Because they said that like Hitler would stop at nothing to get this, so it's like, you know, maximum war effort into finding this item. Though not necessarily military. There is some military presence, but it's not like there's soldiers all over the place. And to their credit, the villains, there's really no reason to keep an eye on this temple if they already got their information out of it. Now, is this the area where they are able to... You can find the like C-3PO R2-D2 on the wall, or is that later?
No, that's later when they're in the Well of Souls. And notice they had barbed wire, like a little...
What was this one
This
called?
was just the map room.
Yeah, there was a little fence. A very meager fence by the road.
Yeah, and it had barbed wire around it. It's just, they didn't have it very up that high. It's like, why have it there at all? All someone has to do is just step over it, which is
Maybe it's
exactly
an
what they
OSHA
did.
requirement. Keep the kids out. You know, we can't have any village kids falling down this well. It's going to be a bad look for the Nazis.
Okay, I guess if there's just one gripe I'd have with these movies, just scenes where we have these Nazis speaking German or whatever, we never see subtitles. I mean, we kind of get the gist of what they're saying to each other, but
You're
they never
right.
show
I'm watching
subtitles
this
at
in
all.
subtitles, and other than that, you couldn't see them. And the subtitles are in German. Though I think this movie could teach you some German. Like, what they're saying is correct. Where they were yelling Schnell, that's like hurry.
Or Jawohl, Herr Oberst.
The mechanic that fight him, he's like saying, come down from there.
Yeah.
Oh no, Indiana's gonna think I sold him out. Gotta get back there.
And they captured him all right, but they're just not the most observant with what he's doing while they have him in their tent.
This one hole in the ceiling here, would that be enough light to light up this room the way we're seeing it?
I guess so, if the sun's pointing in the right direction. Okay, here's the thing. We learn, the staff has to be 6 qadam high, 72 inches. That's about 6 feet tall, from what I looked into it. Yet it's towering above Indy by 2 feet at least.
Well, he said something else too, like take one off for this reason, but then it looks like they actually added one. And I think you're going to need to be pretty precise about what time of day, if not year, for this whole thing to work out. Now that tells him the location to dig somehow. We're sending a message to you. We're on to you.
He just ties together some makeshift rope out of a swastika, just some clothes, whatever he could find.
Not dead. They must have switched baskets. How? And
exactly.
why?
But they had so many people, just other people, they were carrying away in those baskets. It's like, were they taking that many prisoners?
Interesting. Maybe there were so many people being abducted in baskets that afternoon.
And he suddenly decides, oh, I can't take you with me, it's too risky.
Well, it's a good you're alive, but you're going to have to stay here for a bit. Bye. He's kind of sneaking around like it's that Hitman video game. Like he's got his disguise, he's hitting up this place, getting his objectives. So he's finding the landmarks from the city, I guess. You know, it's interesting how they never directly communicate that, what he's doing right now, to the audience in the way that they would in a modern movie, where he'd be like explaining it to his sidekick. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get out this scope and we're going to survey the land. And then when we find this over here, I'm going to triangulate, you know, like, or they'd have to say it to themselves. People are just going to spontaneously talk to themselves as they do in movies. All right, now this is Dietrich, right? The boss,
Yeah.
German.
Wolf Kahler. I think he also played a Nazi in Wonder Woman last year.
I never caught Wonder Woman. Did you see it?
I enjoyed it. Got mixed reviews, but I enjoyed it.
Now, I saw Batman versus Superman, and when Wonder Woman would show up, the women in the crowd just went nuts.
Like, up until the next morning, they stay covert. It's like no one sees them sneaking off to this hidden location, and they finally found the right place out of all these digging sites. And I understand Indy's got this, you know, this white Cairo robe on to disguise himself, but he's not really concealing, you know, his face with the hoods, with the robes much.
Yeah, and they should be able to pick up, hey, maybe you don't look that Middle Eastern.
And right here, he's just kind of pacing back and forth while everyone else is digging. Oh, I'm too busy, guys. You do all the work.
It's sort of a white privilege thing. Like, you see this kind of in movies where maybe it's just particular to Indiana Jones or something, where it's like the white guy's overseeing stuff. And in Temple of Doom, there's this like white savior thing going where It's a good thing this white guy showed up to rescue the
Right.
kids.
And we got no music playing during this part. It's just everything is all setting up tension with the storm going on, and they're clearing off all the edges. It's like, oh, they found it now.
And the storm and the blue screen, like it's not that authentic looking, but I like the way it looks. And I think the difference here is if this was modern, it would look fake, and I wouldn't like the way it looks.
True.
Really? Is that scary? You're a grown man.
You know, you think that's scary. Look what's down below. Why does the floor move? I wonder why that could be.
So the snakes got in through a hole somewhere, right? And there must be something for them to eat down there that they want to eat, otherwise they would leave. Now I'm looking at this in HD for the first time, and I'm thinking a lot of those are fake snakes not moving.
Yeah. That was the thing. That was the problem they had on set. Many of them just either wouldn't move, or I know Steven Spielberg had a problem with some of them. It's like they're supposed to recoil from the fire, but they'd actually get up close to it, probably to stay warm. Asps, very dangerous. You go first. But I'm sure they had a chore on set, basically separating which snakes were poisonous and which ones were harmless.
Now he's trying to wine and dine Marion. Like, it's not enough that I beat Indiana Jones to the find. I'm taking his gal.
She's got nowhere to run. May as well accept his offer.
I like her lack of manners. How it's like showing how she's like a tomboy type. She's not the princess. Though she is going to end up being rescued. There are times though where she's helpful. She kills a few guys. Way better than what was Capshaw's character in Timber Jones? Had a guy's name, Willie. That's like one of the worst characters ever. All she does is yell.
Yell and scream. Oh, and he's watching her undress. You can only see her back, though.
Yep, that makes him creepy. Though I don't know if that makes him any creepier than Indiana Jones.
And watch as she puts the napkin over the knife. I wonder if that was Karen Allen's idea. Let's hide the knife. I'm already going to bring back the drinking scene into this.
Well, it is set up as she's playing along to further her escape plan. Now here's where there's a glass separating Harrison Ford and the snake, but I think they went to work removing the reflection from the snake.
Yeah, it's
once it got to DVD, I think that's when they started tinkering with the effects.
Yeah, little by little they removed it so it's not so obvious. But it's like nowadays you watch the movie, it's like the first time, oh my god, he's looking right at that cobra, but seeing the behind the scenes things, we know there's a glass wall separating them. And where did this oil
Was that
canister
the
come
only
from?
effect that they...
Was that?
I don't think they adjusted any other effects in the movie that I know of.
And right here, where he sets them all on fire, it's like, was that canister down there the whole time? And it's like, well, that's smart. The fire could get out of control and he'd be stuck down there, trapped.
I don't think it was down there the whole time. I think they might have brought it down with him. I mean, they saw the snakes, then they lowered him, and they probably gave him that. Maybe it was attached to his belt. I wasn't paying too much attention.
Mm-hmm. Bottoms up.
But he's got a surprise for her.
Yeah, and vice versa. It's like, oh, you think you're a man? Try down in it this fast.
Okay, so are we about to see C-3PO in the wall?
Yeah, in a few minutes with the hieroglyphics. Again, I don't know.
So is the idea that they killed all the snakes?
I don't know if you're seeing right at the exact moment I'm seeing it, but I'll point it out when I see it. Imagine how heavy that thing must be, even with two men lifting it. But I think...
Oh yeah, impossible. Like this... I mean, what, a ton or more? Like... Oh, well, it's not steel, but I mean, it's... Is it stone? It's not concrete, right?
I grew up on this, the family label. Looked like it had Asian writing on the bottle, whatever they're drinking.
Oh, well, it's been imported, so it's been localized for the market,
Yeah.
I guess. Well, I never noticed how much gum she has in her smile.
He just waves like, okay.
This is quite the intimidating scene here, where he whips out something and they're like, oh, is this some kind of torture device? Huh. Coat hanger. Though it's a coat hanger with no hook at the top. So how does it hang from anything? Like, look, this guy's like so intimidating. He has a guy who takes his jacket off his shoulders. That's like what his job is. Let me show you this trinket I picked up. And there we go. Though, you know what? Maybe there is a hook at the end. You just can't see it because it's not black.
Yeah, I'll torture you next time. And what shall we talk about? And the way this guy plays the character, just that kind of Peter Lorre-ish accent he does. Like he's supposed to be the creepy Nazi major guy you love to hate. And here we go.
There's the sound effect for the Ark. Listen to the music. It's so loud. I mean, I know it's not that exciting just lifting something, but we are looking at something that's gold and it has a sound to it. I don't know if we need the music playing as much as it tries to carry the scene. Now, some snakes are not dead. Okay, looking at the wall. Oh, I think it's really something you need a still frame to
Yeah,
notice.
it's like if you just blink, you'll miss it. I think it was earlier when they were just before they lifted up the that heavy lid to it.
Yeah, you're probably
We'd
right.
have to pause it to really see it.
They had a long night on this dig. Desert gets pretty cold at night, doesn't it? These guys are sleeping outdoors.
Yeah, and they're in the desert. There'd be mosquitoes and just buzzing around, God knows what. And we know their snakes are here, even though they're all hiding out in the Well of Souls, but I wouldn't want to sleep there. Oh, they found them.
The sun seems to be rising quickly. It would be such a nightmare to try to do this. Try to get scenes in at specific times of the day.
As I recall, it was just the temperature with what they endured against being in the desert here. I think a lot of the crew they were just sick with, they had to take several days off.
Well, there is some redemption in it actually being a good movie that you're putting up with all of this misery. But you don't know that when you're making it. It could be crap.
Oh, there's another cobra behind it. Didn't notice that until now. That's one of those things, movies like this. It's like every time you see it, you notice something different you didn't see the last time.
I don't think there's stuff to notice in new movies. Like, you can watch it once. I've seen The Force Awakens once. I don't think I could watch it again and pick up something new.
Well, just by scenes, do a comparison. What's more exciting? Is the trench run from A New Hope more exciting, or is watching Kylo Ren throw a hissy fit more exciting? It's like, you pick. I don't know. I'd pick the former.
Well, they tried to do a trench run in The Force Awakens, and it's so half-assed. Like, it's like in the movie so that they can be like, we need a trench run, kinda.
Yeah, it's like what you pointed out in your video review to it. It's they're gonna fly in there with minimal resistance, and Oscar Isaac's character. Oh, I guess he's the new Han Solo now. It's like all the new characters they're filling in for the original cast. Anyway, not to get off topic here, but it's just that's what it seems like.
I don't know. He might be more second. He's more second banana than Han Solo was. Though I haven't seen the new movie, from what I've heard of it, it sounds like he's more in the background. Like, Finn is Han Solo. Shoot, Oscar Isaac, Poe, he may as well be... gosh, what was that guy who was Wedge Antilles? Like, he may as well be that. So they actually were able to get a lot done without killing all that many snakes, I guess. You know, they're walking around, they're holding something pretty important, and they weren't that concerned that some of these still living snakes are going to get us. How easy could he shake
That's
that?
what I was wondering. He made that look so
Also,
easy.
incredibly dangerous stunt right here. They wouldn't even have a stuntman do that these days.
And he just knocks a hole in the wall. It's like one of those things they'd have to get it perfect on the first take.
Now here, I don't like what happens in the coming seconds here. She goes through this room, which has skeletons, and they come alive.
It's like, were they just hiding out there, just waiting for someone to stumble upon them?
Like, look, there's a scream. The skeleton screamed at her. She didn't just knock those all over on herself, you know?
I think it was also Steven Spielberg just kind of testing Karen Allen, like, how good of a screamer are you? Like, scream loud. But they really upped the ante the next
I
movie
don't
of
remember
Kate
her
Capshaw.
screaming much more after that. No, I guess Steven Spielberg must really like women screaming. Because he ended up marrying the one that screamed the most. Alright, so that guy down there, was he sleeping or dead? Or did he even need to be there? That guy that was by the hole they just pushed out.
And even when he pushes that rock out of the way to get out, it's like, did it clunk him on the head and knock him out? We don't know.
Okay, watch. Actually, you know what? I think it's a later car scene. I think that the guy with the branded hand, I think there's a scene where he's sitting in the car after their chase, and it's a mannequin. It's not him. There's like a dummy wearing his costume.
Huh, I'd have to look out for that.
Alright, this scene here is pretty badass.
Oh yeah, definitely. And going back to crew members being sick.
I think that if you're going to do something with a weird plane stunt, you need a weird plane.
Yeah. You got this flying wing.
I like the shot of the mechanic walking out here. Like, he's like, this will be exciting. And then the camera just pans over to the fight.
This is actually the stuntman, Glenn Randall, playing this guy Indy's fighting right here.
Okay. Is he the one that went under the car later?
No.
The truck?
No, I think that was Vic Armstrong or Terry Leonard who was doubling for Harrison Ford for that. I know the pilot is Frank Marshall, the producer. That was another thing too. I think the guy they were originally going to have was either he didn't want to do it or he was just too sick to do it that day. So Steven said, "Frank, get in costume. You're playing the pilot." But little did he realize it's like he'd have to wear a jumpsuit and be in that cockpit with God knows how hot it must have been. And I love it right here where they start out doing a fist
the
fight.
glass. Yeah.
Especially when he's calling him like, "Hey, you, come here."
Yeah, but Indiana Jones tries to cheat him a little. He like looking at the ground like your shoes untied, kick to the groin.
And again, that's Pat Roach. We'll see him again as the thuggy slave master in Temple of
She
Doom.
hit him with the blocks that were in place to kind of stop the plane.
And she's trying to be helpful.
But now she's trapped inside.
She's trying to be helpful, but in doing so just makes things worse.
No, actually, her making things worse got them out of this situation. Otherwise, Harrison Ford may not have been able to beat this guy without the plane swirling around for the blade to hit him. Plus, there's all these guys showing up. She just killed like half a dozen of them.
But it's like
I like the Rube Goldberg effect of all this. The plane swirls. Now, it like dislodged the valve on the fuel, and now you're going to get that to lead to the fire. I'm thinking not her first time firing a machine gun. Yeah, this is the plane scene the guys who were remaking Raiders of the Lost Ark had to do last, like 30 years later. And they ended up getting a plane that looked like this and everything. Now it's a race against time as they're trying to get this out of the way before the fuel catches up with them.
Didn't that just hit some gas
And these
canisters
punches
there? I
sound a
wonder
lot
why
like
those
the
didn't
whip,
blow.
don't they?
Oh, here we go. Brutal, just one punch right after another.
I think the punches in this are unique to Indiana Jones. Like, I don't hear other movies where the punch sounds like a whip.
Bye-bye.
They're running away, and in this one shot, you have the explosion going with people running away from the explosion. Not how they would do it today. Very quickly, they go from one action set piece to another here. Is he certain this guy hasn't sold him out? Putting a lot of faith in him.
Definitely.
All right, it's this car here. We're going to have our jacket guy. He's going to be riding in the back at some point, and they'll pull up after the chase, and it's not a person. It's like a mannequin propped up against the side of the truck, or, well, the side of the car in the back seat.
You see it was a mannequin for the guy in the black jacket?
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. I don't think they mentioned his name much, but yeah, he's definitely not there. It'll be after this chase. I suppose he's cutting across the mountain so he can catch up that way, maybe?
But it looked like they were far ahead of him already. He just happened to... Oh, there we go.
It's
Take the right
tough
shortcut.
to tell.
There we go. And just all throughout this truck chase, it's just John Williams gets real playful with the music. It's just... It gets loud, it gets exciting. Okay, like, things right there for faraway shots. It's like, that had to be the stuntman and not Harrison. But I think they found just the right guy who kind of looked like Harrison. So it's like, even in close-up shots, you could just almost never tell the difference.
Yeah, if they have used a stuntman at many points in this film, even in Blu-ray or HD as this would be, I don't think you're going to be able to notice. Yeah, once they get the jacket and the hat on and they shoot him from profile. They give this little grin at each other like, hey, we made it. I got to punch you anyways. Notice how there's cars. Like, when we see someone behind the wheel here, the scenery behind them is not some kind of projected or effect or anything like that. I don't even think they even try with movies anymore. Now, surely they're not actually driving very fast, but it looks like they are. Scheisse, I guess that's their way of sneaking in some cursing.
Yeah. He's playing bumper cars, pushing them one way then the other. Like he pushes these guys into
Didn't
the
really
pond.
see him hit that motorcycle. It looked like he thought about hitting him. He had the satisfied look like I bumped him, but then they're in the water. You don't actually see him bump him. This cliff comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never thought that made much sense, but and though it doesn't look realistic, I think it looks better than how it would look fake today.
And now these guys climb out. Oh, let's get them. It's like, why didn't they think of that before? Didn't have an opportunity. There we go.
But they also have their, like, boss who sent them, and he's like, I gotta do it myself. Like, he's the head guy. Mm-hmm. He's the final boss of this level. Well, they're lucky they didn't fall off a cliff.
Oh. Yeah, they got off easy. Oh. Took quite a fall, though.
Shot in the arm.
Ouch.
Doesn't bother him that much for the rest of the movie. Quite a bit of blood going there, too. That I mean, have I seen blood in a movie lately? I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 not long ago. I don't recall anybody even bleeding in that.
Oh, up there went his hat. Yeah.
Now that's Harrison Ford
Yeah.
there on that fender.
Yep, that was Harrison Ford.
All right, we're going to crush him. We're going to try to do like the Road Warrior here.
It's like,
Which these might have been shot around the same time for all I know.
full speed, ram him. Okay, here we go, right here where he goes under the truck.
You can't tell that's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I do know.
Like, I mean, the face is obscured, but you can tell it's a person. And I don't mind there being a stunt actor if there is somebody actually doing the stunts versus computer would be doing it, and then nobody's doing it. This guy was a really non-giving up soldier, but he doesn't quite have the tools to keep the fight going the same way here. He doesn't have a whip, but he gave a good effort. They're crashing. All right, now how did this work out? they had this plan all along for him to capture and take it to this location, and all these guys who are not on the payroll are going to help him.
Now they disguise it as a fruit market or whatever.
Quite the divided town. All right, see the guy in the seat there?
Oh.
There's nobody there. There's no one in this. The guy with the black hat. No one's there. That's like a dummy.
You're right. Huh. He's not moving or anything. And now he is. There.
No, but they have him in there when they drive away. I'm thinking that he just wasn't available for some reason when they needed that shot, I guess. They needed a shot of them looking upset that they lost Indiana Jones. This guy Katanga, you would think that he would sell out Indiana Jones or somebody. Like, it's set up for him to do so. But he doesn't.
And at one point he lies to the Nazis that he sold him out or killed him or whatever.
I killed him, and she's a sex slave. We're doing human trafficking here. You guys want to leave us alone? Okay, a little weird, the little make-out session.
Mm-hmm. Like one kiss for his wife, one kiss for his children, one kiss for him.
I'm not too familiar with this song. I know that at some point Picard and Data have to sing it in one of the Star Trek movies.
I can't remember which one that was, but yes, that very same song.
I think it was Insurrection. Yeah, that one is where Data's like going a little haywire or something, and they have to try to calm him down through song or something. It's near the start. He kind of went rogue.
And look at Indy, he's really hurting after all of that.
You were shot in the arm, and
now he's about to get...
And boom. That's a nice little comedic scene right there.
And, where the mirror smashes him, that's gotta hurt. You hear him scream from outside the boat.
It's not the years, it's the mileage. People should quote that more.
Definitely. And finally points out, well, here it doesn't hurt, pointing to his lips. And he dozes off.
I'm not so sure about him being asleep here.
Me neither.
There's something about the way they wake up in the morning where she's like in the bed and he's putting his pants on and I don't know, maybe it's a little more suggestive, whatever. I like how the rat's tripping out. I wonder how they did that. This over here where the swastika decays. I think that's animation. They with some smoke kind of put in a layer there. See, she doesn't have her clothes on.
Yeah, again, that's kind of suggesting something. But again, if you think about it, maybe that's where he impregnates her with Mutt Williams. We don't know.
1936. He's maybe around 20. By 50, what was it, 55?
57, I think. So that'd make him 20, 21 at the time.
I'm thinking that is. Or though it could be after this film. Because they're kind of together. These guys, are they pirates?
Some of them are.
Katanga's men?
I think some of them are just passengers.
Like what? I'm not so sure what his operation is. He's smuggling stuff, right?
And what's this guy next to Indy when he's hiding in the cannon launcher or whatever that is? Or that, whatever, such smoke. That, oh, there you go right there. Were Nazis allowed to smoke?
Yeah, it's a bit...
I think there was like a rule where they couldn't smoke.
I'm not so sure about that. I never heard they couldn't. I think American soldiers smoked plenty. Though America probably had more abundance of cigarettes.
Look at Dietrich, like that scar across his chin. Or across his cheek, excuse me.
Now, the logistics of getting aboard the submarine are a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in a few minutes we'll see he swims out to sea, gets aboard the sub, he's on top. Well, the submarine's got to go below water, so how does he get inside the sub?
Evidently, there must be a way to open the hatch from the outside.
Here we go. See, he climbs on.
And on top of that, these submarines are compact. Like, you can't sneak past people. That's quite a swim right there in a short period of time. You don't know how quick they're going under. So he's going to open the hatch and climb in. I'm guessing because it goes underwater, right? Or does it not?
I think it goes underwater. We just don't see
I
it.
I don't think it made this long trip above water. I mean, now it's above, and is he holding on back there?
I think so.
I thought I might have just saw somebody holding on in the back. I'm curious how they would have built something like this ship hangout.
Did you see that when he grabs that Nazi and knocks him out? There was another guy just walking past when he grabbed him, and then in the faraway shot when You see the guy across just isn't really paying attention. Where was the other guy when he was walking past? He was nowhere in sight.
There's something about villains in films, they can't be very observant. He took out a lightweight. Clothes don't fit.
Mm-hmm. And he looks dry all of a sudden now.
Guten Tag, good day. Yeah, considerably drier.
Hey,
What is this? This is bad.
you're not Friedrich. Comb your hair,
don't know
or
all the
whatever he's
words.
telling him.
He can sure beat these guys up easily. Like, it's a lot of one-punch knockouts.
And again, there's a ton of them, like just standing there across the way. Did nobody observe that? I guess not.
What else could they be looking at? So he's going on about the importance of we need to test this out first. I don't think he has loyalty to Hitler. I think his plan is to try to use it for himself, but he's trying to convince the Germans here, hey, we need to test this before you hand this off and it turns out to be a dud. You don't want to get force choked out by Hitler.
Definitely.
All right, we have to have the flags. We're going to televise this. We got like a film crew. He even puts on like some ceremonial garb, Belloq does.
Yeah, that wardrobe or whatever he was wearing.
It's the desert. Got to wear my overcoat.
Right here where Toht stops to wipe his forehead. I think they're actually in Tunisia here during filming. If I'm not mistaken, this was the same location in A New Hope where the Jawas captured R2-D2.
The same country. Is it the same spot? You know, this looks like it could be it right here. Hey, he's come to rescue me or blow me up. Of course, we have a fly going into his mouth.
Did you see that?
Now that is acting. Yes, this you could see that on TV, on cable. That is acting right there. That is something you gotta put some award consideration into, like being able to hold that. For his character, it's like he is so close to his goal here. So tunnel vision that the fly in the mouth is nothing. He's challenging Indiana Jones here as a fellow archaeologist. He knows that he's not going to do it.
He's calling him on his bluff.
This is the only time where Indiana Jones has a rival who, though we don't see him commit to the action, he's sort of a competitor. I guess the how it should have ended people could have done this part. How it should have ended Bazooka in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Did How It Should Have Ended, if you've seen them on YouTube, did they do a parody of this?
Surely. I'm assuming. If you're going to do animations and and parodies of movies, you have to start with the most popular of movies. You're going to get to Indiana Jones pretty quick. Now that's a composite shot there, but it looks okay to me. We got the film going, our staff, our garb. Not a lot to see. I'm not sure how Indiana Jones picked up on the don't look at it and it can't hurt you.
Me neither, but it's like he knows about these sort of things, so... I mean, if he knew so much about it when he was talking to the government agents at the beginning, it's like, whatever. He knew. Take it for what it is.
This guy's having a good laugh.
And the look on Belloq's face. It's nothing, it's sand.
I like the lightning effects here. I think you had to draw those in yourself.
And here's where the music really plays with the scene. It's like 1 minute it's kind of melodic and with the Ark theme and all, and then when the spirits come out and get all demonic all of a sudden, suddenly it's just piercing and out of control.
I like the look of this. I think they strapped some lights to the front of these guys and kind of turned the light on, and it made it look like the lights glowing through their soul or something. I think you have to draw a lot of these, like kind of have some artists like do some cartoon work for some of these ghosts, and then some of them I think are a layered effect.
I think they had someone on a wire like going through a water tank for some of this, and like right here.
Yeah, now they're losing it. Now that lead German guy, it's like you had to cast him based on the weird expression he could contort his face in for that scene.
Yeah, it's like
that's how you get the job. This is pretty brutal.
Oh, definitely. That's the thing about these Indiana Jones movies. There's always some brutal death scene in all of them.
Yeah, so like that. Here's a face melt. There's a face melt. And then this one in the middle, I guess the idea was they blew the face up, but that was too horrific, so there needed to be a fire to cover up some of that to get the PG. I like the way all this looks right here. Yeah, there's a weird frame rate thing right there with the fire. Looks like it's going in slow motion.
It looked like we saw a body being pulled up
Pretty
there.
sure this got an Oscar for special effects. Pretty sure. I don't think what else in '81 could have been competing against it. Boom, wipe them out, and I guess you're just gonna have to wiggle out of these. Or wait, did it free them? Yeah, it burned the ropes. That's
Yeah.
right. So that worked out conveniently enough.
Definitely. But then it's like, we see the embrace here, and then the next scene, they're back in Washington, D.C., so how did they get off the island?
Well, I guess he knows how to get aboard a U-boat, so he can surely pilot one himself. I don't know, maybe there's some radio communication that didn't get fried. Had someone pick him up. The money's fine, gentlemen. Something a settlement. But they don't get to study it. But remember, it's being secured by, it's with top men. Though Indiana Jones got to be thinking, who are these top men?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not one of them.
And at the same time, it's like, you guys don't know what you're up against or what you're studying here. I saw this thing firsthand.
I always found it quite jarring how all of a sudden now they're dressed like they're in some 40s movie with their get up and everybody has a hat on. And it's like we went so far in the movie all dirty and leather adventure stuff, and now whole new look. Like they look like they're in Chinatown. And then this over here makes you wonder if this thing is this important and it's just being put with all this stuff, how incredible is all this other stuff? If it can match up. Or is that the ruse? All this is empty boxes and only one of them really matters.
Yeah, it's just how do you tell one apart from the other?
All right. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Awesome movie.
Definitely.
Enjoyed a lot. 4 out of 4 stars, though I found a lot to complain about. I got to go eat some dinner. Thanks for hanging out here. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.